some good news. It's just over 2 weeks until the end of the financial year, and time is running out to get your tax deductions in order.
It's really that time of year already?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness
Tax
gracious. Joel Gibson has done the research for you, which is a help, and he's here to reveal how you can get more money back in your pocket. Joel, good morning.
Hey,
good
Joel.
to see you today. Now, why is it so important to get things in order before June 30?
Well, look, if you want to claim something as a work-related expense in this financial year, you must spend the money in the next 2 weeks and 1 day and keep a receipt. And so that's the rule before or up until 30 June if you want to claim it in this year. And there's an opportunity maybe to bring some things forward. You can pay some annual subscriptions and get a discount sometimes before 30 June, for example. Income protection, you can pay that annually before 30 June. So there might be an opportunity to bring some spending forward that you were going to spend anyway. There are some big end of financial year sales always at this time of year. So make the most of those discounts while they're available. And just make sure you don't leave it until the last minute, because it can make a difference of thousands of dollars if you get tax time right.
Yes. That last minute scrounge of receipts when
I know, trying to
an hour
find them
before
all.
talking to the accountant. What do you recommend for health insurance?
Health insurance, it's important to know that on 30 June there's a few deadlines that kick in for health insurance, especially if you've turned 30, for example, or if you're earning over $90,000 for a single, $180,000 for a couple, then there are a few things that kick in on 30 June. If you haven't taken out a hospital policy by then, you'll pay some extra tax possibly, or see some extra penalties in future, which is called a lifetime health cover loading. It's all very technical, but just make sure you have a look at it if you're in those categories. The other thing is there's a lot of health fund deals around at the moment. Here are just a few examples I found this week. 9 weeks free over 2 years, 10 weeks free over 2 years, 12 weeks free over 2 years, or $450 as a bonus for new customers. So they roll out their best deals in the lead up to June 30. If you're thinking of taking up a health insurance policy, it's a really good time to do it.
Now, this is obviously a tough one given the cost of living pressures, but power bills are expected to increase. What should people know?
Yeah, a lot of big news around power bills at the moment. Now, we've been told to expect 20 to 25% increases. That's what the government price is doing. In the last week, we've been told that 2 of the biggest retailers in the country are going up, in one case, AGL, by more than that. 25 to 30% on average, depending on which state you're in. Origin's released their price rises slightly lower than that, similar to government reference prices. So really, you can expect a 20 to 25% increase in your email inbox in the next probably 3 to 4 weeks from your energy retailer. But look, you can switch. You can switch to the cheapest plans on the market. You can still fix your rates for a year. If you move to a fixed rate plan, it's possible. So make sure you have a look at it. Don't leave it too late. 30 June's the cut-off, because that's when a lot of the prices go up.
Factored in. The other thing is telephone companies are going to change some of their plans as well.
Well, yeah, Telstra has about half the mobile phone customers in Australia, and they're raising their prices in line with inflation, which, as we know, is rampaging at close to 7% at the moment. So Telstra plans going up in the first week of July. Worth knowing, if you're one of those people getting one of those increases, there's about a dozen different retailers now that use the Telstra network. So even if you really want that particular network, you do have a choice. Belong, for example, is owned by Telstra. Boost has access to the full Telstra network. That's just 6 examples I've put up there. There's about a dozen, plenty of options for switching, and you can save hundreds of dollars sometimes just on a single mobile plan. Yeah,
some good tips there, Joel. Thank you so much. Good to see you, mate. All right, well, relief for homeowners this morning as new data reveals property prices are rising again.
So will we see this trend continue even with the interest rate levels so high? Joining us to discuss is Domain Property Editor Alice Stoltz. Hey Alice, remind us of what's happened in the property market over these last few years.
Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Charles. Yeah, it's a great question given there's been so much volatility. But basically, when the pandemic hit and interest rates went to record lows, we saw an utter property boom. We saw prices go up nationally around 36% during that period. But of course, then the hangover hit and interest rates started to rise quickly. Prices started to drop. And what we're experiencing then is that downturn, a really, really sharp downturn, what we saw last year.
So these prices are starting to rise?
Yes, Sarah, and then we have what's happened now. And this has absolutely defied expectations. All banks have shelved their more negative outlooks for the property market, and we're now starting to see prices stabilise and even grow in some parts of the country. It's being led at the moment by Sydney. You can see Sydney prices are up 1.3%. Wow. Adelaide and Perth are also up. Brisbane and Melbourne are actually stabilising. Now, what we're also seeing underneath the surface of that is actually houses are selling faster on market, and discounting is being reduced, and clearance rates are up. Now, this is again completely define the expectations, because normally, of course, when interest rates rise, we do see property prices fall. And we did see that, but now that is now being reversed.
So how do we explain that? Because interest rates are still going up. There was the first pause in a long time in the US this morning, but the expectation is they will continue to go up.
It's a really strange sort of conundrum, I suppose, we're in, Charles, and the only way of sort of making sense of it is this is not a normal property playbook. There are a few factors, though, that are really helping drive those property prices. Migration. We know there's a huge influx coming to the country now, and that's really starting to wash through. We're also seeing that incredibly tight rental market, but ultimately it's being underpinned by low supply. Property listings are down 10 to 20% in certain parts of the country. And I think that interest rate uncertainty is actually getting people to start thinking, maybe who knows what prices will do, maybe I will actually buy now rather than risk another rate rise in the future. And then what happens is that contagion kicks in, and that kind of idea of FOMO is creeping back into the market, that buyers don't want to be priced out if prices do end up going up again. So you can see there's so much uncertainty, and I think the fact that the banks have revised their forecast really says a lot about no one really knows what's going to happen next. All we can really do is look what's happened in the past and kind of try to play the long game when it comes to buying and selling.
So probably not a bad time to sell, Alice, but then you've got to buy back into a hot market with little supply.
It's really tough sell. Look, I think for upgraders, it's probably a good time to buy, knowing that prices are at the lower end of what we think they may be in the future. But I do think, particularly for mortgage holders, it is a difficult time to transact in property at the moment. So it'll be interesting what investors do, knowing the really tight rental market. They may come back into that market. But again, I think it's the market for upgraders. But again, sellers, there is no supply. So I think sellers who have sort of got the courage are being rewarded at the moment.
No supply means still hard for renters as well,
Yeah.
Alice. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome back. Well, with costs soaring, it's never been more important to have a sturdy budget to keep your spending on track. But if the thought of actually making one sends you into a tailspin, we've got some good news. There are some great tools that will do it for you.
Today, money expert EOFY Zahos is here to tell us which ones are worth a look. EOFY, good morning.
Good morning.
EOFY.
You've got an app that can build a budget, we're told, in 30 seconds.
Well, not me personally. I took this app for a bit of a spin yesterday myself, just to see, is it possible? And yeah, it is possible in 30 seconds, so long as you know what your expenses are. So look, during the cost of living crisis, a lot of apps are hitting the market to do with budgets, and a lot of them rely on A1 open banking to pull in all your data. What I like about this one is it's a bit old school, it's simple, you've manually got to put in your information, because that could be a con as well, because you don't know the information, and the data stays on the phone. I really like that. It doesn't go anywhere else but your phone. What I don't like is that it only gives you 5 lines of expenses. So if you want to kind of break out all your expenses, it then says you've got to pay $6.99 per annum. It's not a lot, but things can change. I like it because it's simple and it gives you that nudge. Where is my money going and what can I do to stop it? So you can see, if you just see just slightly in the top right-hand corner there's that red figure. This budget is in the red. Then you can click on areas, where can I cut back, what can I do?
All right, call me a sceptic, but it is I'm always a bit weary of handing over so much information. Is there a catch there?
Well, and that's the thing, you've got to understand, where is my data sourced? Am I okay with it? So this one's just on your phone. It's up to you. Look, I'm an Excel spreadsheet kind of girl. So, yeah.
You don't need an app.
I don't need an app.
To the actual basics, though, how much of a difference does it make by writing down where your expenses are going, where the money's coming in, and seeing it all?
It's a lot of behavioural economics there too, and it's the reason why I do like all these tools and calculators, because you can visualise it. In fact, I'm known to cut out graphics and stick them on my fridge, because it's a goal, it's an aspiration, and that's why I did like the first one in the sense, because you have to manually find out what are my expenses. So it's a good point to raise.
Okay.
For those of us trying to reach, I guess, a savings goal, how do you motivate yourself to achieve that?
Okay, and this is one that I'd stick on my fridge. So the government website's Money Smart has some great tools. This is really simple, and the good news is right now you can get an account 5.5%. This one's another one. This one's ASFA. I like this because it's actually kind of fun. You put in the year. Yes, it is fun, Brooke.
For you.
Yeah. Look, you're going to love this. You put in the year you were born, and it will spit out how much super you should have according to ASFA for a comfy retirement. So this person here was born in 1973, and it says that you should have $281,000 in your super fund for a comfy retirement. It is a lot, and just remember, a comfy retirement to them means $50,000 per year.
We mentioned savings.
Yes.
People have goals.
Yes.
I mean, one of those goals could be to buy a property.
Yeah.
Big
With
stuff.
Rate hikes, it's getting hard to work out how much you can borrow.
Yeah.
Anything can help?
It is, and that's a common question. People go, what can I afford to borrow? I don't know. You don't know where to start. There are lots of tools here. So this one is a borrowing power calculator. It's by CANSTAR. I'm the editor-at-large of CANSTAR, but you can find this calculator across all banks and even brokers maybe. What I like about this one, and most of them, a good one should allow you to play with the variables. This shows that this person earns $100,000 gross, so that's quite a substantial income. I put in 7% interest, no kids, and expenses of around $21,000. Take a look at that, guys. There's not much you can borrow there. No. After 12 rate hikes, someone on $100,000 could only afford that. The big question is, where can you buy property for that amount?
Well,
as well?
exactly.
So that's the cost of living impact that's having in the interest rates hikes on people.
And we're seeing house prices go up, particularly in Sydney at the moment too, which doesn't help.
Yeah, it seems to have done a bottom then turnaround. I mean, there's still a lot of steam in the property market, isn't there, when you look at the auction results over the weekend?
Yeah, rates paused in the US, which is good news for everyone today.
It is, because that would kind of indicate hopefully where we follow a little
That's
bit
right.
too.
You would hope.
Would hope.
Hey there, Today fans, Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my God, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?